Hello explorers and welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be continuing our Starfield 101 series to get you up to speed with everything we know about the game broken down into specific topics. We've already covered combat, outposts, and the galaxy in this series, so if you missed those, then be sure to check out my Starfield 101 playlist. I'll leave a link in the description and the pinned comment. But today we are covering what I think is going to be the largest topic of this series. Today we're talking about ships. Now, ironically, this topic didn't get as much airtime as others during the Starfield Direct presentation and in follow-up interviews with developers, but the information that they did share was jam-packed with important details. Even individual screenshots had tons of information on them for us to learn more about how the game would work. So let's get cranking because we've got a lot to cover. Let's start at the beginning with the ship that you will inherit at the start of the game. The first ship that you'll have in Starfield is the Frontier. It's pretty vanilla, it has room for 2 on board, and has a very limited jump distance, which means you won't be able to jump to faraway systems until you start making some upgrades. But where do you get those upgrades? Well, for that, you're going to have to visit a spaceport. Spaceports can be found in many places across the galaxy, including the main thoroughfares, and each has a space technician manning it. Speaking with the space technician reveals a lot of dialogue options, including paying for repairs for your ship, looking at ships to purchase from their inventory, selling ships that you've collected, and inquiring about where to find crewmates to hire. The basic gist is that this is the place for you to buy, sell, and modify ships. Ships come in many different shapes and sizes. When looking at a ship, you'll notice a number of stats with different values. You'll see that each ship has their own fuel capacity, hull integrity, or hit points essentially, cargo capacity, shield hit points, potential jump distance in light years, and how many crewmates it can host. Picking the right ship for you means understanding what you need your ship to do. It's like the old saying, horses for courses. Different ships are equipped to fulfill different roles. A small, agile fighter might be best suited for hunting down bounties, but can't support a big crew. A freighter might be great for long missions and expeditions where you may have to haul a lot of loot back. Freighters would also be good for smuggling contraband or stolen items if that's how you want to make extra cash. But ships are also fully customizable and components can be moved around, swapped out, added, and more. Ship parts include, but are not limited to, your cockpit, which can come in many shapes and sizes. I've seen some large and impressive cockpits. You've got the bay, which includes your ramp for boarding and exiting. You have the hab, which is your main living/working space where crewmates can sit. Your cargo hold for storing things you find in your journeys, your landing gears, the reactor, which is your power source, your engines, which propel you, your grav drive, which affects space jump distances, fuel tanks, your docker, which attaches your ship to space stations or other ships for boarding, weapon systems, your shield generator, and cowling, which changes the shape and silhouette of your ship and helps to cool the engine if it operates the way cowling works in real life. That's a lot of different parts, which means that's a lot of customizing you can do to your ship. But let's focus in on weapon systems for a moment. There are a lot of different weapon types for your ship, and they all serve unique purposes. You've got energy weapons that are strong against enemy shields. Other weapons are good at damaging the hull of the enemy ship. You've got some that target other systems on the enemy vessel. You've got missiles, lasers, autocannons, disrupting electron beams, and more. What you choose to use depends on what you're trying to do in the moment, whether it's completely destroying the enemy ship, or maybe your goal is to just disable it. And we'll talk more about space combat in a minute, but first, let's talk about customization. You can literally customize everything on your ship. You can paint different parts of the ship to get the look that you're after. You can customize the shape and silhouette of the ship. You can swap out components and put them in different places. It's almost like the Hearthstone DLC in Skyrim with the homes that you could build. You know, each section of the house could be expanded, and you could pick what you wanted to go where. Did you want an alchemy tower or a trophy room here or a bedroom there, a kitchen over here, an armory instead? It's kind of like that, but with a ship. And then your house doesn't just sit there on a hill. You can get in it and fly it around the galaxy. Another thing that was briefly mentioned in the Starfield Direct presentation was that there are different manufacturers of ships in the galaxy, and that means that you'll likely be able to tell who built the ship just by looking at it, as each manufacturer will have their own design schemes and motifs for interior aesthetics. Think of it like Borderlands. A seasoned vault hunter can tell just by looking at a weapon if it was made by Maliwan, Jacobs, Hyperion, or cobbled together with junked parts by the bandits and held in place with zip ties. The ships in Starfield will also have telltale signs to let you know who made them. Some of the models that we've seen that they've shown were reminiscent of, stealth jets. Some looked more army heavy artillery inspired, and some looked more like Subnautica vessels. I'll be interested to see if the manufacturer affects only aesthetic aspects of the ship, or if the manufacturer's influence will also be seen in the performance of the ships too. Now, we did briefly mention that you can hire crewmates to help run your ship. Let's unpack what we know about that system. Crewmates all have their own unique strengths, and there seems to be a ranking system conveyed by stars next to their skills that lets you know just how good they are in that field. And we don't yet know if you can help improve or level up their number of stars, or if those are static values. Ultimately, making a ship operate the way you want means hiring the right people. If you want a ship to be a menace on the battlefield, a tenacious fighter, then you'll want to hire people with skills in weapon systems and shields and maybe engine management. Otherwise, a freighter might want people who can help you make faster jumps and manage your defensive systems so you don't have to worry about losing your cargo. Let's chat about space combat now. Sometimes you're going to run into hostile ships out there and you're going to need to defend yourself. Your HUD from the cockpit will relay a lot of information to you, and being a good pilot will likely come down to understanding all that information in real time and making informed decisions based on what you're seeing. You'll see the range of your target, the health of your target, the status of all of your systems, and how much of your available energy is going to each individual part. You'll also see everything available to you, like missiles and other weapon systems. But one of the core parts of combat is the power allocation system. It looks like by using the D-pad on a controller, you'll be able to quickly cycle through all of your systems and increase or decrease the amount of energy that's being diverted to them. It's all about knowing what you need in the moment. You can divert energy to your shields for more defense, to your engines for more speed to catch up to or outrun your opponent, to your grav drives so you can get the heck out of dodge quickly, lasers, ballistics, missiles, whatever you think you need to prioritize, the choice is yours. I think this part of piloting will be a bit of a learning curve for many of us. When it comes to your perspective, you can choose to view your space battle from the first-person perspective in the cockpit or third-person from behind the ship. The latter will most likely be easier as you'll have a better view of the battlefield, but the former will be extremely immersive and cinematic. I'll probably try to stick to first person as much as possible. Now, let's not forget that Starfield is an RPG, so as you're leveling up, you'll have plenty of chances to invest in perks that elevate your ship game. One such perk is the targeting control system, which allows you to target specific subsystems of the enemy vessel. You can target their engines to slow them down, their grav drives so they can't escape, their weapon systems so they can't fight back, and more. You could choose to blow them up and loot the contents of their cargo hold from the safety of your cockpit while flying through the wreckage, or if you disable the enemy ship, then you might choose to dock with them, board their ship, and look them in the eye before sending them off. If you do that, the ship is now yours. You can add it to your fleet, take it to a spaceport and sell it, or you could choose to keep it. You can customize it, make it your main ship, or you could hire a crew to operate it on their own without you being on board. The choice is yours and likely depends on your available resources at the time. You'll find more than just hostile ships out there though. You might encounter friendly travelers, luxury cruise ships full of rich people to rub elbows with or steal from. Maybe you'll encounter behemoth battleships, but one thing you can always do if you see another ship out there is hail them and demand that they hand over all their valuables. Yeah, you basically can be a pirate, but you'll have to be ready to fight if they refuse. Ultimately, Bethesda clearly went hard with the ships in Starfield. They wanted to make sure that this was a massive part of the game with tons of features and role-playing potential. Todd Howard noted that the ship's dynamic in Starfield is serious endgame content for players, Adding ships to your fleet, customizing them to do what you need, hiring crews to operate them, and fine-tuning both the interior and exterior requires a lot of time and resources, so buckle up because there are hundreds if not thousands of hours to be lost diving into this system. Thanks so much for watching the video today. Leave a like if you enjoyed it and feel free to subscribe for additional Starfield content. When the game launches, this channel will be covering it exclusively for at least a month while I lose myself in the game, so feel free to check out the other Starfield videos on my channel in the Starfield 101 series, including the videos on combat, outposts, and the galaxy itself. Thanks so much for your support, be warm and well fed my friends, and I hope to catch you among the stars.